All right, our friends. I hope everybody enjoyed dinner. You're enjoying your desserts and finding your seats, because this is the exciting part of the night. We get to hear from all of our awardees. So let's everybody find your seats. A little housekeeping notes for our awardees. When you receive, after you've done your presentation and we announce your name and we get to hear all about you, when you get your award, we're going to have you step to the back to the step and repeat to have your picture taken. All pictures for tonight's event will be on our website no later than next Monday, with a link so you can download pictures from tonight too with our photographer, Mr. Pavley. So thank you so much. That link will be on our website. I'm going to have at the very end of the evening, after everybody has received their awards, all the awardees will also stand with your awards in the back for a final group picture as well. And then we'll have fun with our tiger towel before the end of the evening. And before we get started, I also want to say a big thank you to the superintendent of North Allegheny School District, Dr. Brendan Highland. If you could stand up. He also serves as the executive director for the North Allegheny Foundation. And without his support, we really can't bring the programs that we bring to our school. So thank you so much. And without further ado, Brad, we're going to talk about our friend.
Sure I will. And we'll hear from Dr. Highland at the end of the night, I believe. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2024 North Allegheny Distinguished Alumni Gala. My name is Brad Soraka, and I'm a proud 2005 graduate of NA. My high school diploma and college degree allow me to write about sports professionally at a third grade reading level, proving that there is a career out there for just about everybody. My wife Megan and I live in Ingomar with our two beautiful children. Our daughter Delaney will turn 2 next month, and our son Tyler just turned 6. He is in Miss McCree's kindergarten class at Ingomar Elementary. And the lessons and stories he brings home every single day remind me that North Allegheny is just unrivaled. It's incredible that 3-4 months into his education career, he is as bright as he is, and we're very fortunate for that. There are 185 people here this evening, and yet there's a noticeable emptiness. We lost one of the best educators and people the world has known recently, Mrs. Dee Dee Rittman. Over her career at North Allegheny, she taught thousands of students, and each one of us is better off today because of her. She was vital to me. Not only did she open my eyes to the world of public speaking and writing and theater, she wrote a recommendation letter for me that got me into college. She cared enough to keep in touch all these years later. She invited me to speak at this event 2 years ago. And last year on this very night, my wife and I were ready to walk out, and she gave us a signed copy of her children's book, Grady Gets Glasses, and told us to keep reading to our kids, which we do every night. She never stopped teaching. The next morning, I woke up to a text message from Mrs. Rittman. She's still in my phone, Mrs. Rittman, saying she is the luckiest person she knows being able to land a job at North Allegheny. I think I speak for all of us, her students, her colleagues alike, when I say we were the lucky ones to know Dee Dee. Tonight we are raising funds for a new grant, the Dee Dee Rittman Grant. It's in her name, and we're carrying on her legacy in the classroom. It goes to teachers' classroom projects that exemplify her 3 C's of success: confidence, communication, and creativity. There are QR codes on each of your tables and also on page 20 in each of your Gala programs there. Scan the QR code, donate what you can. If you don't want to do it digitally, you can also leave a check or cash up front. Yep, at the table up front. So, moving on from Dee Dee, who is just missed dearly, tonight we honor North Allegheny alumni who are difference makers in this community and around the world. Let's raise the curtain this evening in the category of the arts. Our first award recipient has been recording music since the age of 12. He's won 5 Grammy Awards and has been nominated for 4 more, and he shares his passion now with students at Duquesne University. Please welcome, from the class of 1977, Jay Dutt.
How do you work this? It's always fun to go first. I'd like to thank the Alumni Association and the people that are responsible for this honor, and just thank them for that. But foremost, I just want to thank God, because without talents and, in my profession, good ears, I wouldn't be able to have gotten anywhere. When I think back to high school, there were two teachers at North Allegheny that really had a big impact on me, and I'll never forget them. And it was Mr. Torbick and another gentleman, Mr. Kreutzer. And these teachers gave me opportunities that made me realize that I could do anything I put my mind to. And I'm really grateful to them to this day. And I use their model with my own students at Duquesne University. The friends I've made at North Allegheny have lasted me a lifetime. My best friend went to school with me, and I'm close to all these people today. And some of them should be up here standing in the same group and have done just unbelievable achievements that I will be nominating in the future. But my story is about perseverance and determination. Almost at birth, I just loved music and audio. Even as a little infant, I was noticed everything around me, and I loved to listen to anything, any kind of music there was. And I remember at Franklin Elementary School in 6th grade, getting to DJ a dance, and that was a big deal for me back in that time. A choir director, when I was 12 years old, gave me the opportunity to record a choir concert. And he didn't really give me much information. He just said, record this for me. And later on, he had it pressed into a vinyl record. And when he presented it to me as just a surprise, I was just blown away. And I thought, wow, this is what I want to do with my life. And I started recording friends and formed a comedy group with a bunch of my buddies from North Allegheny. And we were regulars on the WDVE Comedy Hour, which was a long time ago. But all of this was fun, but not seen by anyone as a career path. But I was determined to go in that direction regardless. There were no colleges or continuing education at that time for audio, so I just did whatever I could to, do different things in audio. I was strongly encouraged to go into the family bakery business. A lot of you might recognize my last name. As a fourth generation baker, which I did for many years as I was trying to get my audio career going. After high school, I went to college for business, and ended up finding that there was a recording studio on the campus that nobody could operate. The professor that had started it had left the school, and they just locked the door. I got a key and started doing productions there. After returning home, I built my first recording studio in my basement, and took other jobs mastering for cassette duplication. I'm sure some of you even remember cassettes. Sold pro audio equipment and did audio for video and film, just to try and jump my career and figure out what I wanted to do. I was offered a job at a place called Manchester Craftsmen's Guild, which is a recording venue, and that propelled me into winning my first Grammy Award. I didn't even go to the show in Los Angeles on the first show because I thought, what kid from Pittsburgh is going to win a Grammy Award? And I sat in horror watching the TV show when my name was awarded, and thought, well, the next time I get nominated, I'll be there, which I did. I wasn't happy with I built a studio in my basement, but I wasn't happy with that, so due to limitations of noise and all the things that you need to make a good studio. So I built a commercial state-of-the-art studio in the North Hills in Ross Township. And when we were building it, the first client that called, we were almost finished building it. We were doing some details, and we got a call from the management of Dave Matthews wanting to be our first client in the studio. So we scrambled to finish the space to get Dave Matthews in there. I stand here looking back and remembering all the pinch me and my dreaming moments, like recording famous artists and that I listened to as a kid, and recording the London Philharmonic Orchestra at Abbey Road Studios in London. And my message today would be to follow your dreams and don't think that you can't do something. I ask my students, do you really want to have a job for 8 to 10 hours a day that you don't enjoy? That's a big chunk of your life. Do something you love, and it won't even feel like work. Thank you for this award.
One more time for Jay. Congratulations. Okay, our next category is business. After North Allegheny, our next honoree attended Ohio University for International Studies, was in the Peace Corps in Africa, and ran an outdoor school in Southern California. She earned a master's degree, worked as a rock climbing instructor, and says that's where she found her calling and voice. For the last 12 years, she has run Lancaster Leadership, which helps organizations with workplace culture, leadership skills, and strategy. From the class of 1992, please welcome Julie Lancaster.
North Allegheny, make some noise! I'm delighted to be here with you this evening, but Jay, I want to share something. Where'd you go, Jay? So Jay, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Kreutzer's daughter, who is sitting right behind you, Lisa Kreutzer. So beautiful. REM, In Excess, The Cranberries, Men at Work. Surprisingly, that is who my children now, my 16 and 19-year-old children, that's who they're listening to now. That was the music of my youth. And also, when I think about my youth, I think about big bangs, blue mascara, and double swatches. We moved to the North Hills when I was about 6 years old. We were moving from Japan, where my dad had been working for a couple of years. And I remember, actually I don't remember. My parents tell me the story about this, so it seems like I remember, that when we moved in to Ingomar, I said, do you think that the family next door speaks English? And they were like, yeah, we think so. And they said, well, if they speak English, do you think the kids also speak English? So I was very delighted to have a community there in my neighborhood. If you went to McKnight, I'm curious, can you make some noise? McKnight Elementary? Oh, yeah, me too. And how about Carson Middle? Oh, there's more. Okay, great. Those were two of my schools, as well as the intermediate and the high school, and I have so many memories. So it feels like a while ago that I was in high school. But here are a few things that I remember from high school and earlier. I remember in 3rd grade how Mrs. Orr had us bring in a kind of potluck for St. Patrick's Day, and I made, or maybe my mom, made green ramen. And I remember the trip that our high school friends that we took to Ocean City, Maryland, and we've never talked with our parents about. I remember the leadership class that Leah and I were in, and I wonder if that has something to do with me being a leadership coach now. I remember Senor Grimm, who taught us Spanish and tolerated us. My name in the Spanish class was self-assigned as Tortilla. I remember Mrs. Lake teaching creative writing, and that's where I developed a love of writing. I remember field hockey camp and being so sore. I remember sneaking over the neighborhood fence to go swimming in the neighborhood pool at night. My parents are right there. I remember painting the pump house with the field hockey team. Yes, that's a thing? Okay. And I remember working at Chili's just below Ross Park Mall, and also working in Ross Park Mall at a kiosk that sold framed quotes. Those are the things that I remember, and I want to share with you just personally, for better or worse. I don't spend a lot of time looking backward. I'm often looking forward. But anytime I do stop and look backward, I can have amazing things revealed, or I get to understand how I came to be where I am or who I am. So thinking back to how NA influenced me, there are two major things that are guiding my life now that I realize I really learned during my schooling. They've drastically influenced my business as well, which I have to tell you, I feel so honored to be here tonight, getting to be celebrating together, and I really have a labor of love in my work. So the two things are the power of connection, relationships. Just even right there, that was so beautiful to see. Jay, as soon as you brought up Mr. Kreutzer, Lisa immediately went to tears. It was beautiful to watch the power of connections. That's the first. And the second is the courage to fly. So first, when I think about the power of connections, my friends and my family have dramatically shaped who I am. When I look at my table right over there, Lisa and my brother John have taught me how to have fun. Jamie and Melissa have taught me how to do heartfelt love. Leah has taught me how to have diversity of connections and friendships. My mom has taught me how to live and lead with passion, and my dad has taught me how to feel passionately. And my daughter Ruby, who's 16 right over there, we both came in from Arizona. She is all of those things. She's incredible, but she also embodies, more than anyone I know, the spirit of adventure. The idea of the power of connections is even one of my core values of my company, of my business, Lancaster Leadership. We have 3 core values. And you all know you can live the values or just have them be on the wall. And we live the values, and they are authenticity, generosity, and connection. The other one is the courage to fly. And when I share that, I'm really reflecting on what Jay was sharing in terms of like wisdom and going forth. When I think back, a lot of my decisions were made in a moment when I asked myself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And there are moments that I thought, okay, I know exactly what I would do, and they have forever changed my life. I did leave Pittsburgh when I was 18, even though anytime someone says, like, oh, you're from Pittsburgh, are you a Steelers fan? I will, of course, forever say yes, or I'll be in a lot of trouble, right?
So, glad to be here, and I will say that my son also pulled out the little comment about living with an array of rescued animals, and he wanted to know if that included him. So, no, it does not, Kieran. So, but seriously, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here this evening, and quite frankly, it's a little bit humbling, and I think it's a little bit odd, because I'm getting an award for something that I love to do. I'm getting an award for living my passion and working with people who do the same. You know, isn't that the goal that we all look for in life, is to find our passion, live it, and here I am, I'm gonna get an award for it. So thank you, that's gonna be great. But truly, I know it's not easy. I know that we stumble around this life looking for answers. We're looking for a little meaning in our lives. And, you know, as we get a little bit older, and just a little bit older, I think we all realize that it's not about the bigger house or the fancier car, although my husband will not agree with me there. It's not the bigger bank account, and it's not even the trophies and awards. It's really about making a difference and knowing that we have truly served people in our community. So obviously, I'm a very proud graduate of North Allegheny. I am from the class of 1984. So if I remember my math correctly, that means that this is my 40-year anniversary from graduating. So, wow. And while I am certainly forgetting a few more things these days, let me tell you a few things that I am not forgetting about North Allegheny. And it's not about high school or sports or my friends, it's about elementary school. So I'm not forgetting the days of SB Elementary. Who knows SB? Yay! There we go. I'm not forgetting that little school that has long since closed, that was like a family. And for the 100 or so 6 to 12-year-olds that had the honor of going there, we knew we mattered, we knew we were supported, and we knew we belonged. I'm not going to forget knowing every single teacher in that school. And I'm not going to forget knowing that they knew who I was too. I'm not going to forget being held to high standards and knowing that those teachers knew when I could do better, and they didn't shy away from telling me that I could do so. I'm not going to forget about being praised and maybe getting some gum certificates from Mrs. Halechko in 3rd grade when I did something well, but also being called on the carpet and held accountable when I didn't. I'm not going to forget about the entire school sitting in the gymnasium while we sang the Steeler fight song for the Super Bowl, and also raising money for Children's Hospital when we realized that the kids couldn't go home for Christmas. I'm not going to forget that SB helped me build grit and knowing that failure is not fatal, that you dust yourself off and you get up and you get back in the game. And let me tell you that if you've worked in nonprofits, and I've been working in nonprofits for over 30 years, you better learn how to dust yourself off a lot, and you better learn how to get back up, because there's always someone that needs you. Now, we all know that NA is certainly known as a high academic, has high academic standards. They've got a great music program, great arts, great sports. we all know that they're well known throughout the state and across the entire country. And we as graduates are blessed to be part of this alumni. And I believe that we have an obligation to share our success and our skills and our experiences with the community as well. You know, I was that little kid that was crazy about animals, and thank goodness I had a mother who tolerated me and allowed me to have cats and birds and hamsters and mice and snakes and several other things that she found hidden under my bed, I'm sure. And, you know, it has all come full circle for me. For the past 25 years, I've had the incredible honor of working for an animal welfare organization like Animal Friends. And for the last 4 years, I've been able to lead an amazing team of people that are all about life-saving work. I love Animal Friends. I love the vision and the progressive life-saving that we do. We're supported by a board that allows us to be creative and progressive and risk-taking as we try to find better ways to save lives. Truly, working at Animal Friends is my joy and it's my honor. And quite frankly, it can be frustrating, heartbreaking, and sometimes filled with some sadness that can really bring you to your knees. It can take you from saving the life of a little neonate kitten in your hands to holding a dog that's been abused as they pass away. And despite that heartache and despite what we deal with, I know the work is important. I know we are making a difference, and I know that my time and my effort matters. So, as I learned at SB Elementary, and I cry a little bit and sometimes a lot, but then I dust myself off and I get back to work and I get back in the game. So I encourage everybody here to think about your passion and what drives you. Is it coaching kids? Is it volunteering at a shelter? Is it serving on a board like the NA Foundation? Whatever it is, find that passion. And because you're from NA, we have to give back. We have to share because the community needs us. So, to my husband, to my kids, to my parents, to my friends, to my board members that are here, I want to thank you for helping me get here, and thank you for supporting the journey. And thank you to the NA Foundation for ensuring that we highlight community service, that it does have value. So thank you.
Page 21 in the Distinguished Alumni Gala program is all about the grant that we're raising money for tonight, honoring the late, great Dee Dee Rittman. Her 5 C's of classroom success: confidence, communications, and creativity. If you're able to donate, that grant money goes directly to teachers who follow that same teaching style. And speaking of teachers, we're all here tonight because of wonderful teachers, and our next honoree is responsible for the education of 6,200 students every year. After completing his education, he taught in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, became an administrator at the Beaver Area School District, then superintendent at Chartiers Valley, and is currently the superintendent of Butler Area School District, spreading the North Allegheny upbringing all over Western Pennsylvania, but we're okay with that. Please welcome, in the category of education from the class of 1992, Dr. Brian White.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the North Allegheny Foundation and Dr. Highland, I'm glad you're back in North Allegheny, for this award. And I'm really humbled when I look at the other awardees and to be standing amongst them. And it made me sort of reflect on my memories of North Allegheny and why am I here. And even though I'm the head of an academic institution, academics was not my forte in high school. Now, I did attend a boater's education class with my brothers and my sister-in-laws and my wife, and I was the valedictorian. But that probably didn't count. So when I really reflect on my experiences in high school and school all over, there's so many. And even tonight as I'm sitting listening to other speakers, my memories being jogged because, Lisa, I played kickball with your dad on the SB playground all summer for years. Yep. And, there's so many special moments, a lot of my memories center around the band. It was interesting. Each speaker came up here today so far talked about how somehow music touched their lives. And North Allegheny's music program is special. There's no doubt. And the band has been special. My brothers and I were all the field conductors of the marching band. Our wives were all members of the band too, and we weren't all in it at the same time. There was a little bit of year spread there. But what made it special wasn't the music. It was the teacher. It was the band director, Frank Farina. And Frank Farina is someone who changed my life. And he's a special, special human being, not because of the bands he put together, but how he grew people and how he believed in people. And if you knew Frank, you would know that he really felt that everyone matters. He knew all 300 members by name. He had no hesitation to pull you in because he'd pick up that someone hasn't acting normal. What's up with so-and-so? What's going on? Can you find out this? Can you find out that? And he pushed that with his staff. And the band was excellent. It won awards, got all kinds of trophies, but you couldn't find them. Because if you were in his classroom, he used to refer to the trophies on his wall as all the students he ever taught. He had pictures of them all around his room because that was his accomplishment, and that's what he grew, was people. So I hope, and I don't know why I was selected for this award, but I hope it's because I believe everyone matters. And I hope that I'm a reflection of those I've worked with and get to work with. Thank God I have the family I do who really all embody that. My friends embody that. My colleagues from Butler that are with me today, I've been blessed with a group of individuals who really believe everyone matters. The board from our school district foundation is here. Our school board members are here. And they work and work hard because everyone matters. Butler Area School District isn't blessed to have the same kind of finances as North Allegheny. About half of our students live in poverty. We have volunteers here tonight with us that every Thursday come and pack 450 backpacks so our kids have food on the weekend because everyone matters. And Frank's legacy is just so profound because it impacts so many others, and even his son is carrying on, Frank Jr. here. I was showing him right before the event tonight that he fundraises for instruments, I don't know this or not, to give to schools and students who can't afford instruments. His instruments are Butler Area School District because of his work, and my students, so your dad's grand students are the beneficiary of all your work. So I'm grateful to all those who had an impact on my life, and hopefully I'm having the same impact on the students I serve, and the blessing of those I work with, the blessing of the family. So thank you all. Have a great night.
All right, our next category is government. After graduating from North Allegheny, our next honoree earned degrees from the United States Military Academy as well as Harvard. He was an active duty Army officer from 1968 until 75 and an Army reservist until the year 2000 before a career at the Rand Corporation, and he's now an adjunct professor at Georgetown University. Please welcome from the class of 1964, Dr. Thomas McNair.
You know, you don't need to hear I'm from the class of 64. Just look at the color of my hair. I'm clearly the dinosaur up here, right? I'm years older than any other awardee, which means for me the speech is easy. It's getting up those steps without tripping. It's really a challenge. It also means that my story is going to be kind of ancient history. I was born right after World War II. Now, if you're a faculty member at Georgetown, you make clear World War II was after World War I, before Korea, and before Vietnam, because for most of those undergrads, life started when they were born, and anything that came before is just out in the vapor somewhere. I was born on the north side. We moved out to Allison Park when I was 2. I actually went to first grade in a two-room schoolhouse, kind of like Little House on the Prairie. And then between first and second grade, my parents moved us over to what was then called Longview Acres Plan 9. How many of you? Yeah. If you go stand, I told you, ancient history, if you go stand at what is today the North Allegheny Intermediate High School, whatever the hell that means, and look across Cumberland Road, that was Longview Acres Plan 9. It was all dirt. There wasn't a blade of grass, there wasn't a tree. McKnight Road was still being paved, okay? But there was this, and McKnight Elementary was under construction, so I spent second and third grades at Espy, which I thought had disappeared from history, but I saw the sign over there earlier this evening. So from fourth grade through senior year, I walked to school just down the street. That intermediate school was NA's junior senior high school, and it was new, but I don't know when it opened. Okay. Years later, my dad told me that he moved us because, by all reports, my sister and I would get a better education at North Allegheny than we would get at the high school, which will go unnamed, over in Allison Park. Okay. And he was right. He was right. I got a fabulous education at NA. I want to throw out just one little vignette. And this, again, ancient history. In 1957, the Soviet Union, remember them? Some of you do. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik, first man-made object orbiting the Earth. You have to have lived through it to understand the existential fear in this country in the 1950s. So this was a crisis of major proportions. The Soviet Union beat us to space. And Congress actually did something. We're not used to that these days, but back then, in a crisis, they created NASA, they created all sorts of research and development organizations, and they passed the National Defense Education Act of 1958. Okay, now that was designed to encourage the teaching of what today we call STEM, math, science, and foreign languages, mostly in colleges, but there was money that went down through the states to high schools. And I've always thought that some enterprising North Allegheny administrator reached out and grabbed some of that money, because the facilities at NA were superior, and so was the teaching. I will call out one teacher in hopes that a son or daughter is here, Mr. Morrell. Anybody remember Mr. Morrell? God, that really is ancient history. Morrell was a big guy who could lose his temper. And when he lost his temper, he turned a shade of red I've never seen before or since. But when he was on his game, he could teach calculus and differential equations, not easy subjects, in a way that wasn't easy, but was understandable. And there was a group of us coming through NA, maybe 15 or 20, who were pretty good in math. And we took his course in calculus and differential equations junior year. In fact, at that point, NA had run out of classes to teach us. They had to invent things for us senior year. Okay, so senior year, for reasons that remain a mystery, I got into West Point. Two things about West Point. First, it draws students from every political district in the country, right? Most of the high schools in the country. So of all the awardees, I may be the only one who has a comparative perspective on the value of NA against a lot of other high schools, 1,000 other high schools, in fact. And second, it was really a math and engineering school. We took 80 minutes of math a day, 6 days a week, plebe year, the whole year. We had chapel on Sunday, and I think some people became religious just because it was such a pleasure not to do math on Sunday morning. So I get there, and it starts with calculus, right? And about a month in, I realized that for 80% of my classmates, they don't even know how to spell that word. They've never heard of it. Their high school didn't teach it. Meanwhile, I'm kind of dredging up Mr. Morrell from 2 years ago. So among other things, I became a tutor, and I also wound up, to my surprise, very high in the class. I think not because I was especially bright, but because I just had a good high school education, right? And then with that, I was able to get into Harvard, and after some time in Vietnam and so forth, go back to Harvard and do my PhD. I've been in think tanks most of my life, the Brookings Institution, the Rand Corporation. I did wind up teaching at Georgetown for 10 years, which was a great pleasure, but when you tell them you're a Vietnam veteran, is that before or after the Civil War? Kind of that sort of thing. Okay, so many of you have been managers, right? You've got a position to fill, you get a stack of resumes, a stack of CVs, and the standard CV starts with college. And then in my field, it goes to grad school, maybe publications, right? Mine's like that, although I haven't looked at it in a long time. I'm not in the job market anymore. But mine should start with high school. Mine should start with a line about NA, because in my mind, NA set me up for success at West Point, and success at West Point set me up for Harvard and what I've done with my career. So I'm very honored to be here tonight. I'm grateful for what North Allegheny did for me a long time ago. And finally, kind of facetiously, I'm just glad to be able to say this to somebody. At the end of first semester plebe year, I realized I'd gone to a superior high school. I mean, I had 1,000 other students, and most of them didn't know what I was talking about when we did calculus, right? Who are you going to call? Actually, if you're a plebe, you don't have access to a phone. But, who are you going to call? So I've always wanted to tell somebody at NA, you really did a favor. You really gave me a kick start on a career I've really loved. So thank you very much. Now I got to get down the steps.
I tell my wife all the time that I went to a superior high school, and she tells me shut up. Our next honoree has twice been named Lawyer of the Year for Public Finance Law in Pennsylvania. He is the office managing partner of the Pittsburgh office and a member of the board of directors for Dinsmore. He's heavily involved in the local community, on the board of trustees for several organizations, a passionate Pittsburgher, and I'm told an excellent golfer. Please welcome from the class of 1988, Anthony Ditka.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be in the running for shortest speech because nobody wants to hear from a lawyer they're not paying. I'm very honored to be here. This is a wonderful honor and recognition, notwithstanding the fact that one of my sons, when they heard I got it, said, "Distinguished Alumni for Law, is that what North Allegheny gives you when you can't qualify for the Athletic Hall of Fame?" And the short answer is yes. I want to congratulate all of the other recipients tonight. I got to meet a couple. I knew Brian in advance. I'm happy to say that the type of law I practice, I work for a lot of school districts, and one of them is Butler Area School District, so I knew Brian before. And I got glimpses of all the good things he's doing at Butler Area School District. So congratulations, very well deserved. I guess I'll start with some thank yous. I'd like to thank my mother, Joyce Ann Ditka. My mother was a college professor for 40 years, English, literature, speech, and she clearly highly valued education. And so she had a choice to make when she was deciding where my sister and I would go to school, and she moved us to North Allegheny over 50 years ago. I started my North Allegheny journey at Hozak in kindergarten, under the watchful eye of Principal Schwartz and Mrs. Landon, my kindergarten teacher. After a short detour to St. Alexis, I went on to Carson Middle School, where I was so thankful to have Matthew Braden, our guidance counselor, who kind of put me on the right path, gave me some guidance as to where I should go and how to plan out my future, and to have Coach Seville, who was the 8th grade basketball coach. One of my friends who's here was on that team with me. And my minutes were very few, but they were valuable, and the lessons I learned were great. It was more than once that Coach Seville would look at me and say, "Ditka, what are you doing? Waiting for the bus." And he taught me that even when you're not getting the right minutes, and it's a struggle, work hard and do better, and you will achieve. After that, I was graced to go to North Allegheny Intermediate and high school, and my favorite teacher of all time was Miss Diane Cheneau, my gym teacher. May she rest in peace. So many great afternoons when I would skip my last period of the day study hall to go to the gym and meet my friends Vic Bosnack and Todd Wasinski, and we would slam dunk volleyballs because none of us could slam dunk a basketball. So much fun and such good times and good memories there. So I'm coming back to thanking my mother for giving me that opportunity and moving us here where education is valued. My next thank you relates to the practice of law a bit. You know, again, many of my friends are here who are lawyers. When you're a young lawyer, it can be challenging. You work long hours under great stress, largely because you don't know what you're doing. Everything is new. And to have a partner who can level you out, be supportive, be patient, and be kind is life-altering. And my partner is my wife, Sam. Sam was always there to be supportive for me when I needed it, when the practice was wearing me down. But she also did something else wonderful for me. Sam is a proud graduate of Upper St. Clair High School, but she agreed to allow us to raise our family here at North Allegheny. If any of you have the pleasure of going to a school where your children are now attending or have gone, and have that shared experience and understand the commonality of the things that you can say and do, that is a gift, and that is a gift that my lovely wife gave me. So thank you, Sam. And by the way, yeah, please clap for my wife. Come on. By the way, Sam is a gift to all of you too, because she threw herself into this community. She was on the PFA in elementary school. She was on the foundation. She has done fundraising for Northland Library. There is nothing that goes on in the North Allegheny community that my wife has not touched. Even though I have lived here for 50 years and her a little more than half that, I promise you she knows more people in this room than I do. And again, she allowed us to raise our kids here. So I'm going to recognize my two sons. My younger son, Timothy, could not be here. He is at Ohio University, where my wife and I met. Again, great to have your kids have the same experience that you did. Don't feel badly for Timmy not being here. As pleasant as this is, and as nice as you all are, he is having more fun than all of us. And my son, Connor, is here. Connor, another proud North Allegheny graduate. They had a tremendous experience here as well. So thankful that they got to come up through North Allegheny. Our favorite first grade teacher, Jim Kyler, is at the table with us. He was my older son's first grade teacher at Bradford Woods Elementary, and was so fantastic that we broke some of the rules and asked Principal Deb Summerhalter if we could please have Jim for our younger son. Huge influence on them, and he has become a dear friend to us over the subsequent years. So thank you, Jim. My younger son's fifth grade teacher, Miss Luce, is here. Jen Luce is here. There you go. So many good experiences for them at Bradford Woods before they moved on to Marshall Middle, and where's Bill Mascari? Senor Mascari, who taught them, muchas gracias, senor. Great experiences there, and then on to the high school where our good friend Joe Truesdell was there for all kinds of music and acting and education things. And I got to witness all of this and all of their successes, both in the classroom, with the band, when Connor was playing his saxophone, or when Timmy was playing his guitar. And they had the athletic success that I did not. Connor was on a state championship track and field team. If any of you want to see him when he stands up, you'll realize it was field, not track. We are Ditkas, we don't run, we throw heavy things. And my son Timmy was on 2 state championship volleyball games, and it would have been 3, except the state rudely canceled volleyball during COVID. All of that is a result of the experience, the education, and the opportunities you get at North Allegheny. I am thankful that I had it, and I am particularly thankful that my children had it. So I guess I'll say that my last thank you is to the NA Foundation. This is a wonderful recognition, and I really appreciate it, but it probably means a little more to me than some because, as you heard, my sister won this award 6 years ago. She was the first recipient of the Distinguished Alumni for Law. She won that, again, 6 years ago today. And sadly, 9 months later, we lost her. So allowing me to have something to share with her after she's gone that is more commonality means more to me than you know. So thank you. Have a wonderful night.
After graduating from North Allegheny, our next award recipient studied medicine at Penn State University. After practicing clinical orthopedic spine surgery, he went on to teach at Drexel University's College of Medicine, and after going back to school himself for an MBA, he now works at Elevance Health as the Clinical Operations Associate Medical Director for Spine Surgery. So straighten up, everybody, and please welcome from the class of 1993, Dr. Gary Schmidt.
Thank you. So I'm a surgeon. Surgery can be a humble teacher sometimes. It can show you that time is finite and precious. I will have the shortest speech. Well, first let me do the thank yous. I want to thank my family. I would not be here without them. I think back, my dad had several opportunities to get a higher position in his company, and we never moved away, and there was two reasons. One was family. My grandma's lived 5 to 10 minutes from me and from us, and he always thought that North Allegheny was the best education, and those are the two reasons I remember as a kid him stating why he passed on those opportunities, and I'm thankful for that because I wouldn't be here today without that. I want to thank God. Surgery teaches you that humans don't control everything. I don't think I would be here without God, or whatever you want to call it. I want to thank the foundation, obviously. Really appreciate this, and I'm humbled to be up here with these other amazing people. They asked us to reflect on what we remember from North Allegheny, and that really made me think how terrible my memory is nowadays. When I think back to high school days, honestly, I mostly think of sports. I played soccer, basketball, volleyball. Soccer was my main sport growing up. Bruno Schwartz, who coached the soccer team for like 35 years, was clearly the biggest influence on me back then. I think about the things that he taught me. These are examples. I was just telling one of the cross-country runners in Marshall Middle, who I know, this the other day. You had to show up in August at pre-season camp and be able to run a 6-minute mile, or else you couldn't practice. And, that was a pretty high standard, but it taught you discipline. I remember pounding the pavement in the summer just thinking, I got to get there, and you learned from that. There's a hill. I grew up in Longview Acres, actually, too. I walked to school from kindergarten through 10th grade because I went to McKnight, then Carson, then NAI. And there's the hill between the track at NAI and the Carson field was called Agony. Some people are nodding their heads. Good. I'm not the only. I go over there in the summer and pretend I can still run every once in a while. And I look at that, and it's a lot more overgrown than it used to be. But we used to run that all the time when we'd piss off the coach at soccer. And I think that really taught you grit. It taught you to listen. I think it taught you a lot of things that I try to get my kids to really, get their face out of an iPad and learn nowadays. And those are all a product of what I learned at North Allegheny. From an academic standpoint, I don't think I appreciated how awesome North Allegheny was until I went to college. And when I rolled into Penn State, if you were not drunk, you had an advantage. But compared to all the other kids, my freshman college classes were much easier than my high school classes. So it really was great preparation and really made for a smooth transition to that next phase of your life, and I'm very thankful for that. If I had to, one more thing I wanted to mention, Julie mentioned Mrs. Orr, which jogged my memory, something I had forgotten about, and kind of tying in family. In 3rd grade, I had Mrs. Orr, and we had a grandparents' tea where you got to bring your grandparents in and you put on a little skit. And I don't remember a lot about the skit, except that they made me dress up like Kermit the Frog. And my buddy Joey Morrison was Miss Piggy, so it wasn't the worst thing. But I'm very thankful for this award. I think I'm going to end it, so I definitely win the shortest speech. Thank you all for coming.
All right, moving on. Our next distinguished alumnus is from the field of science and technology. After earning his PhD from Carnegie Mellon, he co-founded Winternal Software and joined Microsoft when his company was acquired in 2006. Now, he's Chief Technology Officer and Technical Fellow for Microsoft Azure, which is their global enterprise-grade cloud platform. And that's a mouthful. Please welcome from the class of 1985, Mark Rusinovich.
All right, so first I want to say that it's an honor to be here, and I want to thank the North Allegheny Foundation for this award. It's incredible recognition because North Allegheny is obviously such an amazing school, given all of the other awardees that I'm standing alongside here. I want to say one thing, though. The speeches were really great tonight, and it appears that I might be the only one that used ChatGPT to help me out. By the way, ChatGPT does run on Microsoft Azure. For those of you that don't know what a global cloud scale enterprise platform or whatever that was is. But let me talk a little bit about my memories of North Allegheny. I moved to Pittsburgh in the middle of 1982. I was in the middle of 8th grade. My father was a physician and took a position at North Allegheny, at Passavant Hospital. So we moved the family up here in the middle of school year, and I immediately jumped into a new school system at North Allegheny Intermediate School. I immediately saw that the bar was higher than it had been at the school I was at in Birmingham. And I look back, like many that have come up here, and I struggle to remember all the teachers that I had that were fantastic. I had many of them. But there's always a few that stick out in my memory that I do remember their names. I remember lots of faces, but there's a few teachers that really stuck with me. One of them was Dr. Schaefer. He was the AP American History teacher. And North Allegheny back then just had a slew of AP classes. I had so many college credits going into Carnegie Mellon because of the AP classes I took at North Allegheny. A real privilege to be able to do that. But he was one of those teachers that, obviously I'm in science technology, but I loved that class because he really taught us so much about how to look at history, not just memorize facts, but understand it. I had another great teacher, Mr. Bowman, who was a chemistry teacher. And he inspired me because he pushed me to do more. He'd look at me, and when he's handing out the grades on the tests, and he'd say, "Mark, you can do better than this. I know that you're not trying." And that pushed me to do better. But when I was preparing to come up to North Allegheny, I was asked to fill out my class schedule for the 8th grade. And I'd already decided I wanted to go into computers, but I loved planes. And so I saw this one class on the curriculum, aeronautical engineering or aeronautics, and I said, that's cool, I want to learn about planes. I showed up here and learned that it was not just about planes, it was about leadership. And that class actually turned out to be Air Force Junior ROTC. And that program, which I stayed in through the entire 3.5 years that I was up here at North Allegheny, really impacted me. The teachers there, Major Miller, who's taught for a long time here at North Allegheny, I know sadly he's passed away, August C. Rigotti, Chief Master Sergeant, also just were like friends by the time I graduated. And I spent time moving up in leadership at North Allegheny, in the program. I ended up becoming squadron commander. And then I also joined the color guard, and this brought me into the marching band. So that taught me other lessons, like Mr. Farina's lessons some people have talked about, of going out to the field, not really field, it was like gravel area, in the middle of the summer, beating sun, and having him say, do it again. All right, do it again, do it again. And just looking for excellence, which he obviously achieved given all the awards, and which also was fantastic. Remember marching in the Thanksgiving parade in Philadelphia and going to award ceremonies as part of the marching band and presenting the colors there. Other memories of the school, the gifted program, that was something new. And that was like a little world unto its own in the school where I got to meet other people. One of the people that I met was Brian Keller, who's sitting over there. Who was also in the program and turned out to be my best friend for much of high school. We had a falling out for a while, which talked about it on the bus, where we didn't speak for about 6 months and we don't remember why, but I think that's just high school. It was just an amazing run at North Allegheny. It really set me up for Carnegie Mellon and then going on to do what I've done. And I don't have another school to compare it to, but I'll tell you that I really felt prepared in terms of leadership and academic excellence across all the domains, not just science and technology, but also the humanities. And then the extracurricular activities, like I mentioned, with the marching band. Great opportunities, and I hope all the kids I hope every kid has an opportunity to experience a school like North Allegheny. And then finally, I want to thank some people that came to support me tonight. My mother's here, my sisters are here. They all flew in from out of town. Brian flew in from North Carolina. My brother-in-law's here. Friends of my family, my good friends of my parents are here too. The Lindenbaums and the Murtaughs are here. And my mother is here too to support me, so I want to thank them. And then, of course, last but not least, my beautiful wife, Andrea, who I met at Microsoft too, so path connected us there in Azure. So anyway, any case, thank you very much. I really appreciate the award, and it's awesome to be recognized with all these other distinguished alumni.
We're up to $700 on the D.D. Rittman grant. We're getting to 1,000 tonight. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Page 20, scan the QR code, or Bill Mascari will be collecting checks and cash at the end of the evening. One final award recipient this evening. It's our Young Alumni category. She's the founder and CEO of Macon Wellness, which is Pennsylvania's #1 rated online therapy company, recognized nationally as a trailblazer in virtual mental health care. She's an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year finalist and got her start at North Allegheny. Please welcome from the class of 2010, Sarah Macon.
Hello, everyone. I have some good news for you. I am a very concise communicator, so we're going to be out of here soon. So starting out, North Allegheny has shaped me in so many different ways. I loved my experience. My family specifically moved so that their kids could go to North Allegheny, and I was able to learn so many different things. I was able to participate in Future Business Leaders of America and DECA, which I still don't remember what that stands for, but it's something to do with leadership and entrepreneurship or something like that. And being able to learn these skills in such a young age was incredibly helpful for me. NAI was a great experience as well. I still remember the first time I ever went to the weight room. It changed my life, and I have been a huge lover of fitness and working out ever since. So I really appreciate that experience. Another thing that I absolutely hated back in the day, but I love and I appreciate every single day, was all of the work that the teachers and my sweet mom did to make sure that I could improve at math because I was so bad at it. And now every single day I'm constantly looking at my company's finances and doing modeling and a variety of things that there's absolutely no way I'd be able to do it if it weren't for my mom and my teacher's support and spending so much time teaching me. Another part of North Allegheny that really shaped my experience was the counseling center. I got amazing counseling from, I believe his name is Mario Valentino. He really helped me out. He helped me to think in a more positive type of way, and he really impacted me, and that is what sparked me to eventually start my company, which is all virtual mental health care. One other notable event that I experienced was a career exam that we have to do at Nash. And I got the findings back, and it was very interesting because it said that I should either go into entrepreneurship or I should go into social services. And I remember scratching my head thinking, well, what the heck am I going to do with that? And it's interesting how things end up working out down the road. So like I previously mentioned, I started an online telemental health company in 2017, and my team is a huge reason as to why I am here today. And I actually have 3 NA alumni and would love to hire more. My family has always believed in me and always push me to be the best possible person that I can be. So thank you, Mom and Dad. You guys are the best. And my loving husband, Matthew Allen, he is my rock. He is my ultimate tennis and travel partner, and also my free in-house counsel, so thank you. I would love to thank everyone here. It is so humbling to be recognized along with such an amazing group of people. I am so inspired by all the award recipients and all of you, and thank you to North Allegheny, and thank you to the North Allegheny Foundation. Thanks, and have a great evening.
All right, so we're going to have all the awardees head to the back with your awards quickly, and then I just listening to everybody's speech, I have to say it is such an honor to be part of this, but to hear from the goal, from ROTC, from counseling. So this isn't just the teachers we think about, but we're thinking about the whole staff of North Allegheny. And I am happy to say that the NA Foundation has really given money and funds to across the board. So to book club, to connecting people. So every one of your speeches tonight was so amazing, and I'm very grateful that our audiovisual team is here with us tonight so we can keep a memory of this. There's been some really great awardees last year, and their speeches, I hope, inspire people to keep on connecting and stay connected to North Allegheny. I'm going to bring Brad up while we can get a picture of the group.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give him
Oh,
time.
okay.
This is selfie time.
All right, it's selfie time. Except for I need my phone. Okay, okay.
Where's yours?
So, okay.
All right, ready? Let's do this.
Ready? Let's do it. Wave your towels on our social page. Okay.
Got it? Okay.
Yes. All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Who are we bringing up?
Yep, we're going to bring up Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Highland, for some closing remarks. Thank you, everyone. It's been a blast again this year.
How am I supposed to follow the towel waving, huh? That's tough. Everybody wants to get out of here. Well, I can guarantee you know what the best thing about going last is? I'm going to have the shortest speech because I know the times of all the others. So when I think about an evening like this tonight, the number of times that people said thank you, the number of times that people said that they were grateful. So when you think about evening like this tonight, I think of gratitude as well. I am grateful that I got to hear the stories of those distinguished alumni that have been through the doors of North Allegheny. And I used to be the principal of whatever the hell you call that school, NAI, so for 10 years. And sometimes I called it that too. But you know, you think about the gratitude. I'm grateful for those three ladies that were sitting over there, Gina, Alice, and Megan, for putting this together tonight, for being the co-chairs. Let's give them a round of applause. You know, I'm grateful for Dee Dee Rittman. Dee Dee Rittman was a teacher in my building, and I worked with her for, 8 years. Before her, what she would say, her beloved Scotty ended up getting cancer and passing away. And we worked very, very closely with each other. In fact, Dee Dee was one of the people that was the editor, which she referred to herself as the editor-in-chief on my dissertation. So without her, I could not have finished the dissertation the way that I wanted it without her help. And I'm just curious, what is the number that we are at for 1,100, so we made it. Dee Dee, you may or may not be hearing me now, but I'm going to make it 1,500 for the difference that she made in my life. So I am grateful to her. So I'm a little teared up when I think about that. I'm also grateful for the individuals that are currently, as we speak, making memories for the distinguished alumni that are going to be coming up here in years to come. So those individuals that are support staff in North Allegheny, please stand. Patty McClure, I see you stand. Those that are teachers at North Allegheny, please stand. Those that are administrators, and those, stay standing. I get to be the boss here, stay standing. Our board members that came tonight, please stand. What these folks are doing is they are creating memories. The ones that are going to come up and be in speeches and create the memories that we had over there between a daughter and her father and a distinguished alumni. So with that, I'm just going to say I'm grateful as well. I'm grateful to be the superintendent of the absolute best school district in the entire nation. And thank you for allowing me to work with you and bring out the best within our kids. And I told you I was going to have the shortest speech, so have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to meeting all the distinguished alumni tomorrow at the breakfast at CAO. So have a safe trip home. Good night, everyone.